Hi, love bugs. Welcome to another episode of Girls Night. This week, I'm delighted to introduce our guest, Dr. Aumatma Simmons, a powerhouse in holistic fertility, hormones, and embodied leadership. Dr. Simmons is a double board certified naturopathic endocrinologist who has dedicated nearly 2 decades to supporting people in reclaiming their hormonal wisdom, optimizing fertility, and using that inner knowledge to power their lives and businesses. Aumatma helps clients move beyond seeing fertility as a purely biological event to viewing it as a holistic reflection of one's lifestyle, stress loading, environment, mindset, and relationship to self. Her unique approach emphasizes not only the female side of fertility, but the male side as well, understanding how couples can co create optimal reproductive health together. Across her work, you'll find the themes of self trust, divine intuition, hormonal intelligence, and reclaiming your body and business from overwhelm, external demands, and societal narrative. In short, she helps you listen to what your hormones are actually telling you and then leverage that intelligence to level up, not just in fertility, but in leadership, creativity, and life. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Aumatma Simmons. Hi, everyone. Life can get a little crazy, so let's talk about it. If you're ready to dive deeper, talk about what really matters, and feel a little more empowered, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Carly Doc Stater. I'm a life coach, baker, dog mom of two, and you're always there for you, gal pal. And I'm so excited to have you join me. So grab your fuzzy socks, put on your comfy pants, and let's have girls' night.
Thank you, Carly. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you for joining.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. So I guess to start off, can you share your journey, how you got to specializing in fertility and hormonal health?
Yeah, I started out as we can go as far back as pre-med in undergrad and feeling lost and just like, what am I doing with my life? Because I didn't really picture myself being a doctor. And the biggest thing for me was like the disconnect between the mind, body, spirit. So luckily, I say naturopathic medicine found me because I didn't look anywhere. I just kept talking to my professors who were like, no, you're crazy. Like, go move to California or something. And then I got this pamphlet from a naturopathic medical school, and literally the cover says Mind, Body, Spirit, Naturopathic Medicine. And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, this exists? Are we kidding right now? And ended up going to naturopathic school. Hormones were not really what I thought my jam was until I had been practicing mostly with women for about 5 years at that time. And then my ex-husband wanted to start thinking about having babies. And that was my like the starting point of my just like crash course in hormones, fertility, and all things women's health because I I when he mentioned babies, my uterus every single time would just be screaming, no, no. And I was like, shit, what does this mean? Right? Like I'm already married. What does this mean? And like kind of was in a tailspin for a real period of time where I was like, okay, I got to figure out, is this no babies ever? Is this don't want to have babies with this man? Like, what is my body telling me? At that moment in time, my hormones were completely out of whack. I was having the worst menstrual cycles that I've ever had. I was having headaches that would last like weeks on end. And it was like all of these signs that in retrospect now I'm like, holy shit, like I was not listening to what my body was telling me. I was not listening to my hormones, but that was my wake up call and like really the turning point of my personal journey, but also my journey into fertility and hormones and trying to better understand what is this thing that happens to women every month that I've been ignoring for so freaking long and how do I like wrap my head around what my intuition was telling me. So
Mhm.
it ended up not babies with that man. So we got a divorce
Right.
and and I did eventually find the right person. We have a child now, so we're good. But it was just a lot of like realizations that brought me into fertility. And then realizing that what I had been taught in medical school was mostly incorrect and that we don't, as women, we don't really have the education or the level of understanding about our hormones that I really wish I had had.
Mhm.
So then I made it my personal mission to be like, I just want to educate women and I want everyone to know what I was mistaught. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of women deal with too. And I feel like it's kind of this narrative around when you have bad, like PMS symptoms, for example, like we're
Mhm.
just told that it's like a part of your life and you
Oh
just
yeah,
have to
it's
deal with it. Like
normal.
go take some
Hmm.
Midol, take some ibuprofen, and nobody really looks deeper into it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes back, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it kind of goes back to the fact that there is not a ton of research on women's health. I think there's more now than there
Hmm.
used to be, but
Hmm.
it's crazy. I find out more and more how it's usually just research that's been done on men. So of course there's going to be a lack of knowledge in how women's bodies operate and what it's actually trying to tell us.
Yeah, I think there is one of my favorite mentors. Her name is Allison Armstrong, and she's not anywhere in the medical paradigm. She's very much like relationships and men and women and masculine, feminine, and all that kind of stuff. But there's something unique that she has been teaching for decades, which is that men think that women are less hairy, smaller versions of men. And women think that men are hairier, bigger versions of themselves. And that disconnect is at the core of so many of our interpersonal issues, but it's also translated into our world in so many places. So we see this in the medical world and in the research scientific world. It's like most of the people doing the research are men. And
Hmm.
they're like, well, women are just, just smaller, non-hairy men. So
Hmm.
why do we need to separate out women's research versus men's research? And so a lot of the research that we find is just done on men and then translated into women.
Hmm.
Or it will be, I feel like the biohacking world, I kind of pick on it sometimes. I love biohacking, but I pick on it because it's a lot of like bro dudes that
Yeah, you're so
are,
right.
let's just be real, like it's these like muscular, super built guys that are like, yeah, let's like take ice baths and intermittent fast and like great. Those are great things for men. Those are the absolute terrible things for women that we don't realize. And it takes years of now we are talking about it. And like I will keep talking about it on Instagram and stuff. And then finally, women will be like, oh, you're telling me I shouldn't intermittent fast because it's bad for my hormones? What? But all these guys are doing it. And I'm like, yes, but it's men and there's no research on women and stop following the trends because they're often not research for women.
Well, I feel I've heard that too, like especially with like ice baths and things like that. For a little while I started taking just personally like cold showers. I was
Hmm.
like, this is miserable, which I guess that's kind of the point. But then I was reading that actually men can actually tolerate a lower temperature than women can, and that when
Uh-huh.
we go below a certain temperature, that it's actually more of a stressor on our body than
Yeah.
it is helpful. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that would have been great to know at the
Mhm.
beginning.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I think that we really like, we hear these things of like, oh, this is amazing for your health, but no one is translating it into what's amazing for women who are cycling.
Mhm. Can we take a step back real quick and can you explain for anybody who's listening that doesn't know what this means, what naturopathic actually means?
Sure. So, naturopathic is in tune with nature. And the idea is that, or the fundamental core belief, one of them is that nature heals itself, which means, and we are nature, right?
Hmm.
As humans, we are part of nature. So, the fundamental belief then is that our body has the capacity to heal itself. But if it's not healing, then there's a reason for it. And that's where a lot of the fertility work that I've been doing is not necessarily like how do we control my hormones, how do we fix and prod and poke, but rather like how do we better understand why our body's not doing what it's designed to do. And in that space, I think we ask very different questions. So if I'm not trying to figure out why this is wrong or why your body is infertile, quote
Hmm.
unquote. I'm putting this in quotes, you guys. I'm
Right.
not calling anyone infertile. um, and if that is the case, then we're not asking, what can we do to help support your fertility? We're asking, well, what you're infertile, so what hormones do we need to give you to fix it?
Hmm.
Versus the naturopathic approach, which is more more from this perspective of if our bodies were designed perfect and we are magnificent humans in nature and our nature heals itself, then what do we need in order to help support that healing process? So yeah, it's I think when we understand the philosophy, it leads us down a very different trajectory. A lot of people translate naturopathic medicine to, oh, you work with diet and lifestyle and supplements and homeopathic medicine. And all of that is true. But the fundamental principles are very different than the like more conventional approach.
I love that because I've always been a believer, I guess without realizing that there was actually a word for it, that like our bodies heal themselves, like you're saying, and
Yeah.
that when we're sick or something like that, or when things aren't working how we're supposed to, it's just trying to tell us something.
Hmm.
So, and you talk a lot about that in your work too, how your hormones are just messengers. So, can you
Hmm.
unpack some of those underlying stories that our hormones might be telling us if we are having issues with our
Yeah.
fertility or anything like that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So my favorite one to pick on is PMS because so many of us experience it and so many of us have memories of being told like this is normal. It's just part of being female. So in my work, I think that PMS is honestly probably the biggest messenger that we have.
Hmm.
And I consider it a feedback loop of what was your last month like? And if in that PMS period, you are feeling all kinds of resentment towards your significant other, let's just
Hmm.
say, then like the perspective is not to be like, oh, he's this way. It's actually, okay, what have I been doing in the last month? Where have I not been having the honest conversations that I need to have with him, with myself, that are then showing up during this period of time as intense just bitchiness, quote
Right.
unquote, towards him, right? So it is when we think about it from like, if this is a signaling system, then what is it signaling us? Another example that I like to use a lot is things like clotting, cramps during our menstrual cycle. Those are all really good signals that no, you don't need to take more aspirin or Midol, but actually, like something is going on that's out of whack. And for me, and this can be unique to each person. So your body will signal to you in whatever way is aligned for you. So you may get very different signals than someone else. And you're like, but I have cramps and my friend has cramps. Don't we? Isn't that same? And on some level, yes, the hormones are similar. But the reason you might be having that issue is very different.
Right.
And it takes a little bit of just kind of assessing and looking at your past month. For me, the cramps come up when I haven't had time to rest. So the week before the period, I try to like slow everything down and do less and kind of like get ready
Hmm.
in for the next phase, but it's not always possible.
Right.
So when that doesn't happen and I don't feel rested, rejuvenated going into my menstrual cycle, then I can almost guarantee that I'm going to be in pain.
Right.
Versus the months where I do get that rest, then period comes on, nothing, like no symptoms. I have a client who was just telling me this yesterday. She said she has had years of very intense menstrual pain,
Hmm.
and she's been with us for about 6 weeks, and her like we detoxed and we kind of adjusted her diet and lifestyle a little bit. So we haven't done too much, right? She's not taking a million supplements. And she had her first cycle, or no, this is her second cycle working with us. She had nothing. She's like, my
Wow.
period started and I didn't realize that it was menstruation day. Right? Like,
Wow.
she's
That's
like, I did
crazy.
not expect it. I didn't know it was coming. Like, I had zero heads up. And I was like, great, that's exactly what it's supposed to be like. And she's like, really? All this time? And I'm like, yeah, that's what our life should be like.
Hmm.
And when we are not doing those things or when we're not experiencing those things, it's the flag of, oh, is this a month, like a 1 month thing? Which for me, it usually is like, oh, I ate super crappy this month. I'm going to see clots in my blood. Absolutely. Like I can almost guarantee it. Versus the months where I eat super healthy and I do really well with rest and I get all my sleep and I've done all the things, the report card is going to show something very different. So, um, our our signaling our signal or the message that we get from our menstruation and then through the entire cycle is such a significant way that we could be understanding how the things that we're doing in our lives are impacting us. But we're never taught this.
Right.
We're never taught to like listen to it or to even realize that it's not normal, right?
Right.
Like when I was young, I was doubled over in pain and my parents would not take me to a doctor. They were like,
Oh.
it's normal. Just take an Advil, keep going.
Hmm.
And their philosophy was just keep going. And what I all I wanted to do was lay in bed and do nothing.
Hmm.
Right. And they're like, nope, sorry, you got school, get up, go to school. You can't be
Hmm.
home. Um, and that could have and would have been the template for the rest of my life
Right.
had I not learned in my 30s that there was a different opportunity, right?
Right.
Like that I could actually have periods that come on without any pain that I don't have to lay in bed for,
Right.
but it just takes like a little bit more intention to get to that point.
Hi, Love Bug. I've got a juicy little gift for you. And if you've been feeling off, stuck in your head, or like your vibe just is not vibing lately, then this is for you. I created a free guide called The Three Secrets to Creating a Magnetic Energy Shift right now. And it's exactly what you need to start shifting your energy instantly. These are the exact tools I use with my private coaching clients when they're ready to stop chasing and start attracting. We're talking powerful, we're talking practical, and yes, of course, we are talking a little bit woo, but in the best possible way. In the guide, you will learn how to clear energetic blocks, activate your most irresistible frequency, shift into receiving mode, and there's even a bonus secret on how to use your body language to instantly boost your confidence and presence. So, if you're ready to feel like the version of you who turns heads, magnetizes opportunities, and walks through the world like the main character, then this is your sign. Head to the show notes and click the link to download your free copy. It is quick, it is powerful, and it is going to leave you feeling like, damn, I really am that girl. All right, let's get back into the episode. I think
Mm,
that's something that is a good point too, just because how you're saying, like, I just had to move forward, but your body was telling you exactly the opposite. And within
yeah.
you, you knew, like, I need to rest because that's all you
Hmm.
really wanted to do. But
Yeah.
with what we're taught to just push through the pain, especially as
Hmm.
women. I
Mm-hmm.
think people think that women have like a very high tolerance for pain, and just because we have a high tolerance for pain doesn't mean we should have to endure it.
Yeah.
Like for your client, like that must
Yeah.
be such a relief after all of these years to be like, oh, it does not have to be painful. Because I feel like so many women, to your point, they're told to either push through it, or I feel like lots of times birth control is just kind of used as like a band-aid
Mm-hmm.
fix for
Mm-hmm.
everything. Which,
Yep.
to be fair, sometimes it does make periods not as painful, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not really necessarily like a fix to the problem.
No, it's not. It will make periods more tolerable, but it's because it is shutting down our hormonal regulation system.
Mm,
So it's giving your body the hormones externally. Those hormones don't actually have the same impact
hmm
that your internal hormones have. So your body isn't moving through the four phases or the cycles that we're
hmm
in the same way as if you were regular, like not on hormones. So it's really unfortunate that even doctors, like with the best intentions, they don't realize that there's such a big difference.
Right.
And our body not producing these hormones on its own has a price that we're going to pay for it later.
hmm
And so many women that are put on birth control for pain or birth control because they're not cycling regularly, they have underlying things, often PCOS or endometriosis.
hmm
And when they get off of birth control to try and conceive, all of their stuff, all of the physiology around their illness is going to be 10x from where they were when they were younger, because now they've suppressed it for 10 to 15 years and their body never had a time to heal from it. And instead, it was like a very big bandage that was just thrown over all of
hmm
it. And when you open the bandage and the wound hasn't healed, but instead it's like green and
hmm
nasty and gross, like that's what's happening with our hormones.
hmm
So, and it's not totally the doctors. It's more like when we don't understand the physiology behind what's happening with our bodies and combine that with not fully getting that the hormones that were given externally are not equal, then we have the perfect storm to have doctors that are like, oh, it's no big deal, just take it, it's fine, it's not affecting anything.
Right.
um I heard a very big doctor, like she is mega in the women's health world, giving a TED talk talking about you should just take uh, I think it was aspirin or ibuprofen. I'm trying to remember, but the dosage was like 800 milligrams 4 times a day.
A lot, right?
It's crazy. Like that's such a high dose. I was like, oh my God. And she was like, oh, it has no negative effects, blah, blah, blah. And and then I like go and research it and I'm like, actually, that level of any level of aspirin actually will affect your ovulation.
Mhm.
So the studies that I see showed that even 5 days of taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatories will shut off your ability to ovulate in that cycle.
Wow.
So now you have women that are like pain suppressing because
hmm
that's what they've been told. We've normalized this idea that we need to like suppress the pain, who will stop ovulating. And then they keep doing it through their entire lives. They realize, oops, can't get pregnant if you're not ovulating,
hmm
right? So these are all the women that end up in our practices because they're like, I don't understand. I have
Right.
normal cycles. I menstruate every month. What's going on? And this is the level of depth that we have to go to really understand like what's the story for this woman in front of me and what is her body trying to tell us.
hmm I'm curious, kind of on the same note, you brought up PCOS and endometriosis, and I'm 29. Maybe it's just because I'm reaching that age where more of my friends are like having babies and starting to
Yeah.
experience this. But I feel like there's been a lot of women that I've heard about that are having endometriosis and PCOS. And I don't know if there's more women experiencing that now than there were before. But what are your thoughts on those? Because I feel like it's such a common thing
Yeah.
for women to experience.
Yeah. So you are exactly at the age where women are like your age group is the ones that are discontinuing birth control,
Hmm.
and they probably had PCOS to begin with, but they were not diagnosed. They were not worked up properly. Like, oh,
Hmm.
irregular cycles, take a pill. And that regulated them until they got off of it. And now they're like, crap, what's happening with my cycle? I only bleed every 60 days. What's going
Hmm.
on? It was fine when I was on the pill. Like, yeah, it was fine because you were having what's called a withdrawal bleed from stopping the hormones that you're being given,
Oh,
but it's not
interesting.
an actual menstrual cycle. So you thought you were regular and now you're irregular because you're not on hormones. That's not the case. You were irregular to begin with. It was band-aided, and now you're coming back to like, oh shoot, this is still a problem. Like,
Yeah.
didn't realize I thought this was fixed, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that is a lot of what's happening. I don't think that statistically, I don't think more women are getting PCOS,
Okay.
but I think that it's like 1 in 6 women have PCOS and 1 in 10 with endometriosis,
Wow.
and 1 in 2 with PCOS will struggle with fertility. 1 in 3 with endometriosis will struggle with fertility.
Wow.
So that's really important. And then the endometriosis piece is really interesting because on average, it's taken 10 years for a woman with endo to get the diagnosis of endometriosis.
Crazy.
10 years. Yeah, it's insane. But it is coming, that number is coming down to 7 years,
Okay.
which is still a lot, but
It's progress.
it's progress. But I think that's partly why there's this feeling of like, oh, do more women have endo all of a sudden? It's no, not that more women have it. It's more that women are getting diagnosed with it faster
Mm.
because doctors are way more aware of what's
Okay.
possible, and there are endo specific doctors that will be able to diagnose quote unquote endo from an MRI instead of laparoscopic surgery, which used to be the gold standard.
Okay.
So there's a shift in diagnosis that's happening that is potentially like making it easier because laparoscopic surgery is not something like, hey, we're going to cut you open to get you a diagnosis of endo,
Hmm.
is not the most sellable thing
Right.
for a woman. It's like, what? You need to cut me open to diagnose what's happening? What
Right.
if there's nothing there? They're like, oh well, yeah, we cut you open and that
Yeah.
that is what it is.
Yeah.
So we didn't have great tools to measure endometriosis, whereas now with the movement that's happening with MRIs, that's great. And then there's some newer tests on the market that don't require any, like, they're non-invasive and relatively easy to do in office to get the diagnosis and way less expensive than an MRI. So we're moving that like women's health thing forward. We still have a long ways to go, but there is a movement that I think is pretty positive.
That's great. I think on the same note too, I think a lot of women are really scared that they're going to be too old to have a baby. At least in the US, women are waiting longer to get married. They're waiting
Hmm.
longer to have kids and to start a family. And part of
Hmm.
that comes with being scared that you're not going to have a baby because you're too old. And I think that's
Hmm.
what we've been told for forever. I
Hmm.
think, is it when you're in your 30s that it's considered a geriatric pregnancy right
Mm-hmm.
now,
Yes.
but me and my reliable TikTok resources, I've just seen people talk about how there's been other research that's come about, and I know that you've talked about this as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say you're
Mm-hmm.
more reliable than TikTok. But so I would love to hear your opinion on the whole age thing when it comes to fertility and
Yeah.
reproducing and starting a family.
Well, what's really exciting is actually in the last like week, there is a really new study that has come out that has found that our ovaries and eggs are not actually aging. It's that they're losing the communities that they're in that are
Interesting.
feeding the egg and
Okay.
like supporting its survival and growth and all of that. So, I think that research actually shifts the paradigm a little bit in what we have been thinking, which is the ovaries are these containers that hold all the eggs, rather than, oh, the ovaries is actually like communities that are supporting egg health,
Interesting.
right? And it almost is like a direct pro to what we do in the naturopathic functional space is like we understand that you are not like your eggs don't just like hang out and age, right?
Right.
They're developing, they're growing, the body's choosing which ones when. There's like so much signaling that is happening at the level of the ovaries. So I think that's really interesting research and very much supports what I'm about to say next, which is that our age is not the reason why our fertility is declining. Our biological age is not that reason.
Okay.
Sorry, I said it reverse. Our chronological age, meaning our date of birth, is not the
Okay.
reason why our fertility suddenly declines.
Right.
In Instead, what I want to propose is that the effect of aging is why our fertility declines. And the effect of aging can be happening in any age person. So you could be 30 and have massive fertility decline because you spent your 20s partying, drinking, smoking, and not getting enough sleep,
Hmm.
right? Like that, if that was your reality, it's very possible that by the time you're 30, your ovaries are like feeling like they're 50 and they're like, ah, we're
Right.
done with that. Like like no kids, thank you.
Hmm.
Or you spent your 20s working super hard, hitting every networking thing you could, and not really prioritizing your own body and the health and the signals that we were talking about earlier, listening to those signals and optimizing your body in a way that would support fertility long term. And this was partly my story. Like I had worked from between 26 and 33. I worked like 80-hour weeks. I was an entrepreneur trying to start a business, like working way too much, not sleeping, not eating well, skipping meals, just like everything that I would tell women not to do, I
Right.
was doing myself.
Right.
And because I was not so focused on the fertility side, it was okay. It was like,
Hmm.
yeah, whatever. Like, I have stress for now. I'll fix it later.
Right.
I'll get in a retreat. I'll go on vacation. That was my like stress fix. But what I realize now, having done this work for the last 15 years, is like we really have to wake up to the fact that the way we treat our bodies in our 20s and early 30s is going to be the effect that we have
Hmm.
when we're trying to conceive. And the positive of that is it's reversible and it's like you can plan for it.
Okay.
So as soon as I realized, I was like, oh crap, I'm doing all of these things that don't make any sense if I want to have kids later in life.
Hmm.
And changed it. So within the next 5 years, I was doing everything I was telling my patients to do. I was like, get the sleep, get the good food, stop drinking, like all the things that I should have been doing all along.
Right.
I took those 5 years to do. And the effect of that was getting pregnant on the first try at 37
Wow.
and And of course, being told by my OB, oh, you're geriatric pregnancy and this will never work. And I was like, I don't believe you.
Right.
Like, I know I'm good. I'm a fertility doctor. I'm good. I'm like, I've been doing this for so long. Like, I feel very good about where I'm at and what's gonna
Right.
happen. So, didn't have any issues. That pregnancy was totally fine. So I think that we put so much into our age, which chronologically we can't do anything about. You were born whenever you were born, and
Hmm.
it is what it is. But if you have the opportunity to say, huh, if all of these things are going to affect my fertility later down the line, and I am in choice about those things, then why am I not making better choices?
Right.
Right? And you can start wherever you're at. So you don't have to like, oh, well, I can't reverse my time 20 years ago. It is what it is. You are
Right.
right where you are, and you can start doing it now. And hopefully you have enough time to be able to reverse the effects of what your lifestyle has done over the years, whatever that lifestyle was. Yeah.
That's so, I mean, that is very positive, and I feel like that's very encouraging that it can be reversed as long as you start looking and taking it seriously now. Because
Hmm.
to be honest, your girl was a party girl in college. So it's nice to know that, like, even though that was like my 20s,
Yeah,
that I can still do work. And I know I'm not the only one that's in that position, but I can
absolutely.
still put in the work and make different choices, like you're saying, to make it so that it can still have a successful pregnancy and make it easy like it was for you.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just like little bit of planning, little bit of foresight, and that's why I think these conversations are so important to have early. Is like I hope the 25-year-olds that listen to your podcast are like, "Oh, I could be doing something," and like, "Yeah, why don't I want to do that?"
Hmm.
Right? So I think that that's the message of empowerment, that like we are in choice about this, and we could totally get to the age of 35, 40, whenever the doctors are like, oh my God, you'll never have children. Um, and be like, actually, that's not going to be true for me because I've taken care of my body. I know where I'm at. I know where my hormones are. I know what my menstrual cycle is reflecting to me month in, month out. I'm tracking all of this stuff, and I am more in tune with my body now than I was in my 20s. And that is going to reward me with the family that I want when I'm ready for it.
So we've talked a lot about hormones specifically related to fertility, which I think is
Hmm.
amazing and is something that we need to be talking about and be talking
Yeah.
about more. So thank you so much for that. But you've also talked a lot about how you can use your hormones to actually help boost you up in other areas of your life, like in your
Hmm.
business, just in your creativity and life in general. So can you talk about that a little bit too, and how you can actually use your hormones as like levers to get you to where you want to be, not just with your fertility, but just with life in general?
I love this topic. This is my jam right now. So there is kind of what I find easiest to understand is relating our hormones to seasons.
Okay.
So we have the season of winter, which is our menstrual cycle. And that period of time is really resonant of a winter energy, which is you want to be indoors, you want warm things, you want a cuddly blanket, you want to cuddle with your husband. Like those are the things that are going to support your healthiest state in that period of time that you're in. And the gift of that state is deep intuition and knowing.
Okay.
So, if we are resonant with supporting winter in the way that it should be supported, then the gift that we'll receive just by being. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to meditate 5 hours a day. The gift of it is to be able to gather intuition. And that intuition might come as like, oh, this problem that I've been having at work, I know exactly what I need to do to fix it. Or, oh, I really need to talk to this person and reach out to them. And it turns into $1 million business deal,
Right.
right? Like things like that, that you are not necessarily like so honed in on day to day are
Mm-hmm.
going to drop into you as like little pings, little things that if you weren't slowed down enough, you would never hear
Right.
and would potentially like miss opportunities because of it. So that's my favorite time. It's
Okay.
like intuition, get into like just be open to everything that you will receive.
Yeah.
I find in this state, it's really helpful to journal
Okay.
because it will help to just open your energy up to receiving whatever those messages are. So that's helpful. It's helpful to like just find yourself potentially in nature where you're like, okay, I can be like slower and listen to the birds and, just do all the woo
Right.
things. Then after winter is spring.
Okay.
So spring is our follicular phase. And it will often go from like cycle day 4 or 5, depending on how long your menstrual cycle is, i- to like 10, 12, 14. Cycle day
Okay.
10, 12, 14, depending on when you ovulate. So, that follicular phase, what's happening in your body is follicles are growing, developing, and what they're doing is releasing estrogen. During the follicular phase, you will often have more energy.
Okay.
This is an ideal time to be out and about. And like spring is like buzzy energy, right? Like you feel it in our seasons. You
Yeah.
also have that within your body every single month. So that like buzzy energy that has you like excited and oh my God, like what do I want to do and how do I do it? Like those are all the things that you want to do during that phase. It's also a really good time for connection. So when estrogen is high, it's really great. It's a great hormone to like build relationships, right? So if you want to do networking, if you want to be
Mm-hmm.
like creating connections, you want to take meetings that are like potential opportunities. You want to, if you do sales, this is like pack all of your sales meetings during that period of time because you are naturally magnetic. So if your sales psychology is like how when we are the right fit, you will automatically want to work with me.
Right.
That happens during your time where you're most magnetic. So
Okay.
the more meetings you have for sales, the easier that sales process will be.
Right.
So those are all the things to do in your follicular phase.
Okay.
And then the ovulatory phase, ovulation is technically one day,
Okay.
but the 3 days before ovulation and the 3 days after ovulation, so 7 days total is your ovulatory phase, and that is essentially the season of summer. In
Okay.
summer, again, is high energy. You're out and about doing things in the world. You're connecting, you're talking, you're potentially having hard conversations, quote unquote. This is a really good time to ask your boss for a raise, to be like, here's all the things that I've accomplished in the last 6 months. Where's my raise?
Right.
Right? And your boss is more likely to say yes during that period of time because you are like in your most vital, potent energy.
Interesting.
Um, so capitalizing on that. Also, the networking energy continues through that period of time. Sales energy continues through that period of time. So all of those high value things that you want to be doing that generate revenue in your business, those are the ones that you want to do during follicular and ovulatory phases
Okay.
or spring and summer.
Okay.
And then we get to fall.
Okay.
And fall is sometimes hard for people because things are falling away.
Right.
Things are coming to light that you didn't expect to see.
Mm-hmm.
This is often the period of time where we start getting PMSy, right? This is going to be like resentments that have built up over the month. They're going to start showing their face during this period of time.
Okay.
And your hormones are shifting a little bit. After ovulation, your body's releasing progesterone. So progesterone is sort of like the nesting hormone.
Okay.
It's telling you're often going to be like in cleanup mode and like let's clean the house and do all the house projects
Mm-hmm.
and your husband's like what the hell? Like I didn't sign up for this. What's happening right now?
Where did this come from?
Right. Like who are you? What happened? And you're like honestly like you could consider yourself four very different people through every season, right? You're going to
Mm-hmm.
be a different person in your intuitive phase than in your excited out in the world phase. So the fall is going to, I think of it as like things are falling away.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of falling away, the things that are most important are bubbling to the surface.
Okay.
And if you are being aware about it, they're showing you or reflecting back to you what needs attention.
Okay.
And people have a hard time with it because they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize all this stuff was happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a really good time to strategize. So the progesterone brain is like very strategic in its thinking
Mm-hmm.
rather than the estrogen brain, which is very connective in its thinking.
Okay.
So while the estrogen phases are like, I want to connect, I want to be in relationship, I want to do all the positive things, progesterone is like, okay, we need to strategize. This baby is on its way. What do I need to do? What
Mm-hmm.
do I need to get into order so that the baby can be good? So, and even if you're not pregnant, that hormone is still in your body. And this is assuming that we're not on birth control. So, this is a natural rhythm in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So, fall, if we do fall well, then we're prepping for winter. This is a time to increase reserves. So in
Okay.
nature, this is a time for harvest
Mm-hmm.
because we got to get through the winter, right?
Right.
So farmers will often like, oh, what do I need to pickle? What do I need to store? What do I need to like, let's make sure we have all of our reserves in place
Mm-hmm.
in our bodies, what that means is let's make sure we've rested. Let's make sure we've eaten well. We have the nutrition that we need to
Mm-hmm.
get through winter. So it's like very preparatory in that nature. And
Okay.
if in this phase, this is like probably the most important phase because if in this phase you neglect yourself, you neglect your needs, you override with like pushing through rather than listening,
Mm-hmm.
the menstrual or winter will be harder
Okay.
because you're going into winter without reserves, without being nourished. You don't have the building blocks to get through all of winter.
Right.
So it's going to be harder versus the times when you're able to slow down, recuperate, rejuvenate. Then you're like, oh, what? My period's here? That's possible? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize.
Right.
So that's what we're going for is like really doing the prep work beforehand so that we can have an easy menstrual phase.
I love that. Yeah, I love that you related it to the seasons because I feel like that makes it so much easier
Hmm.
to remember. And it is like,
Yeah.
it is kind of intuitive, right? Because
Yes.
during like ovulation, like I feel like I always know because I'm like, whoa, I could work for like 16 hours today. Like
Yep.
I could do so
Yep.
many things. I have so much energy. But then right before I have my period personally, like I usually get really tired.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I like can't do anything today.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
catch me in bed.
Yeah.
But
And um that's your body saying, "Hey, we don't have enough reserves."
Hmm.
So you build those reserves over time. And if
Okay.
you keep building, then you'll get to a point where you don't need as much rest in the
Okay.
luteal phase or the fall.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a forever thing where you have to like, oh my God, I just have to sleep all the time. Like that would be really hard to do
Yeah.
if, if you're like, I have a job and I need to make money and all of the things
Right.
that I'm doing to sustain my life. So that would be hard. But the way that I would support that healing
Hmm.
is feed it slowly, right?
Okay.
So in the fall season for you,
Okay.
you maybe plan on an extra hour to 2 hours of sleep,
Okay.
right? That's a really, it's hard to do, but it's not that hard to do. You're
Yeah.
probably like spending time watching TV or
Yeah.
going out with friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't do those things during the fall.
Okay. Okay.
So you're giving your body time. And then the other thing to do is regular meals.
Okay.
So if you can regulate your meals, your body suddenly goes, "Oh, I'm nourished." And I
Okay.
know that more nourishment is coming.
Okay.
So it like doesn't have as much anxiety about, "Oh my God, am I going to get food? Am I going to be
Right.
okay?"
Right.
And that gives the feedback of like, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And you keep giving
Okay.
that signal. And within 2 or 3 cycles, I promise that you're going to be like, oh, I'm not as tired. I don't need as
Okay.
much sleep. I'm good. You will keep doing your things that
Right.
are helping support you.
Right.
But it takes just a couple of cycles to like build back to the point where you're like, oh, I'm not super tired. I can still do things.
Okay.
Um, and I'm good, but I'm always listening for like, is there something that my body needs?
Hmm.
Is there something that is like kind of blaring at me and calling for my attention or telling me that things are out of alignment?
Hmm.
And oh, and then the other part, sorry, I forgot one thing about the fall,
Oh, that's
which is
okay.
this is the time to say no to things.
Okay.
And this is the hardest for women to do, right?
Yep.
Your mom's calling you up like, "Hey, can you come over and da 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 and this thing needs help and this thing needs help." And you're like, "Okay, I guess so."
Yeah.
Right? Instead of being like, "Actually, no, I can't do that right now, but I'm
Hmm.
more than happy to do that in 10 days." So, like saying no and setting boundaries is super crucial in fall because
Okay.
as things fall away, your your intuition, your body is showing you like, hey, this is super important. You need to pay attention here.
Hmm.
And the things that are not as important need to go lower on your priority list.
Okay.
And those things are always shifting. So it's okay if you have a boundary about something 1 month and you're like, oh, I don't need that boundary this month. I'm good.
Hmm.
But you're making sure that you're listening to that.
I love that. And I do think that that's something that a lot of people have trouble with is saying no, but I can see how it would be extra important in that phase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that we're coming up on the end of our time, and I know that you have a lot of exciting things coming up as
Mm,
well. So do you want to tell us some of the exciting things that you have coming around the corner?
absolutely. So much stuff. Um, So the first thing that is coming up is the launch of the startup that I've been working on for a couple of years. It's called Madre Fertility, and our website is just madrefertility.com. And what that is a way for men and women to assess what is happening in their body and what are the signals that are going on that are indicating some sort of hormonal imbalance, instability, that helps to give insight to what could I be doing to support my overall health as well as my hormonal health. So that resource is free.
Amazing.
The analyzer is like basically my brain converted to tech, and it's like if you were to talk to me, these are probably the same things I would say to
Yeah.
you,
What
but
an
you don't have to
amazing
pay me for
resource that is because you have a
it.
beautiful brain.
Absolutely. Thank you. Wish I had had that over the course of time where I was being told, oh, everything's fine, everything's normal, your hormones are normal, everything like people just kept giving me this message. And I like, had I had this back then, I would have been like, oh yeah, I see exactly what's out of whack. And like it would have been an easy path to fix.
Right.
So yeah. So that resource, it will analyze everything you tell it, and then it'll say like, okay, here are your three main blocks. If you want support with it, we have like protocols and things that you can access. You will pay for that.
Right.
Or you can do testing if you're like, oh, I could have endometriosis.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should get tested for that. And
Right.
then we can point you in the right direction for more testing. So
That's amazing.
I hope that this helps like change the paradigm that we're in where we're like waiting. The women that come find me are have been waiting for years
Mm-hmm.
for like everyone's saying everything's normal. IVF's not working. What am I doing? Like, why is this not happening?
Mm-hmm.
And we look through their analysis and we're like, this is pretty easy. It has to do with your gut health and insulin and thyroid. And they're like, what? Like that is so off the wall and so different than anything else out there. So that's number one. And then next year sometime will be the book that I've been working on called Hormonal Leadership. And we have available the first chapter for early release in like March of next year. So you guys can sign up for that, get on the wait list. Actually, like I have a secret reason why I have a wait list, which is I want to know that people actually want this book. Because I'm like, I could just be like way off, you know?
Well,
So
you will at
as
least have a wait list of one because I'm interested in the book, so I'll be on the wait list.
exactly. So I want to like create a little community and a little tribe around the book and just know that there's like I'm not speaking to the ethers, but people are interested and want to see this happen. And that
Amazing.
will motivate me because it's been like 2 years of working on this book.
Well, books are hard, definitely. Okay, great. So I will include links to both Madre Fertility and to where you can sign up for the early release chapter in the notes.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
besides that, Amatma, where else can people reach you if they want to
Mm.
connect with you?
Yeah, the best place is Instagram at
Okay.
Holistic Fertility Doctor. All of the hormonal leadership stuff is also going to be in the same Instagram. So
Okay.
it's all, I feel like people are going to get upset about it, and that's okay. Like if you're there for fertility and don't want to hear the leadership stuff.
Well, I mean, you should probably want both, right? But that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. That's what I think, but you know.
So you get both. This was amazing, Amatma. Thank you so much for joining. I was taking so many notes while you were talking just because I found it so interesting. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked what you heard, then go ahead and subscribe so you get updates with us every week. You can also follow us on Instagram at KRC Coaching. If you're interested in working one-on-one, then go ahead and visit our website, krccoaching.com, to book your first 30-minute session for free. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Love you. Bye.